Wearing it for 3,000 years, but failing to make a leap, IOUs pile up like mountains. Chu Yiyi said she didn't want any money, but to her surprise, she blew up the system and ended up with a disgusting debt collection system. The master of the Tang Tang Crescent Mountain, a top-notch scoundrel from the Mingdong Immortal Domain, was arranged to reincarnate and become a milk doll for ordinary families, forced to embark on the path of debt collection for generations. The doll is very aggrieved. Fortunately, there was an uninvited tool man who failed to soar. He could be a wet nurse at home, a thug outside the house, a vehicle on the road, and even a super excavator when carrying out debt collection tasks. Big Brother-level nannies and overweight babies teamed up to take on single-generation debt collection, adopting a family-copying style of debt collection, with accurate results and no false arrows. Their slogan is, "I want to learn from you, Yeshan Lao lie and self-destruct to evade debt." Dreaming. We have a professional team and technology, and even if you explode into ashes, we can get back the debt. Keywords of the novel. Self-explosion. Debt evasion is very unethical. I rely on debt collection to accumulate merit without a pop-up window. Self-explosion. Debt evasion is very unethical. I rely on debt collection to accumulate merit. Download the complete text. Self-explosion. Debt evasion is very unethical. I rely on debt collection to accumulate merit. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. The First Order of the Reincarnation Doll for Self-Exploding Debt Evasion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The First Order of the Reincarnation Doll for Self-Exploding Debt Evasion. The famous leader of Crescent Mountain, Half Moon Fairy, has self-destructed and died, causing great distress to all members of the Chang'ing Immortal Domain. It's just that they're not grieving over her death, but because she died, they can't even recover a penny of the countless immortal debts she owed. But no one knew that she was even more sorrowful. After 3,000 years of breaking through the world, she finally endured to become the master of a mountain. Before enjoying a few days of Qingfu, it was just because my subordinates were not involved in human affairs and were borrowing money everywhere under her name. It was really good that thousands of immortal sects and masters joined forces to block the mountain gate and collect debts. Oh, it seems like if they block the door, she will have money. Her purse is as empty as a mountain, as shallow as the ground, and that's not the money she owes. But faced with a crowd of people surrounding her, she couldn't speak clearly and had to resort to unethical suicide. Unexpectedly, Dai Dun became a little nanny and was entangled by a broken system. After wearing it for so many years without a system, but now she is forced to default on debt and self-destruct due to her bad luck, claiming that she is immoral and has a system broken. She still needs to come out with a small body that has only been 4 months old to help people collect debts and accumulate merits, otherwise she will be struck with lightning. Then she started chopping one by one, chopping until there was only one breath left. When she calmed down, she continued chopping. It's really not human. Chu Yiyi, who was lying on Feng Yeshu's back, was very depressed. Is it here? Feng Yeshu asked. As a means of transportation for the milk doll, Feng Yeshu was very conscious and walked eastward from the Chu family until he reached the southern village mentioned by Chu Yiyi. Landing and stopping. Chu Yiyi turned to the detective and poked his head. He saw a dilapidated house ahead, surrounded by many people and quite popular. It's here, it's here. With a little finger, Feng Yeshu was about to go. Wait, don't go in yet, let's take a look at the situation. After all, this is my first time taking on a task, and I am not proficient in anything. I have no idea how to proceed with the first step, so I cannot simply pay for it and ask for debt on behalf of others. Will they beat me up like a crazy person? Let's take a look first before we talk. Then, passers-by who passed by from then on saw a tall and handsome man carrying a chubby little kitten at their doorstep, seriously listening to the corner of the wall. Huang Er's family, don't blame us. Just say where Huang Er is and let's go find him to reconcile the accounts. We really don't want to make things difficult for you, a woman. Woo-woo. I really don't know. If I knew where Huang Er was, I would definitely bring him back. My mother-in-law injured her leg and couldn't get up, and her child burned for half a month. Huang Er left without conscience for half a year and didn't believe her, which killed the three of us. Come in and see for yourself. All this stuff in my family is here. If there's anything you can take to offset it, I won't stop you. In the courtyard, the woman with red eyes cleared the way and didn't forget to move the half-woven wicker basket aside, actively making a way out. But there were no valuable objects in the empty and dilapidated house. Apart from the wicker baskets that the woman had picked up, there was only a square table that was about to fall apart and a few fragile low stools. There was not even a cabinet in the corner of the cooking bowl pile, just a piece of rag covering it. Her mother-in-law collapsed in the inner room without saying a word, covering her forehead, with blood-stained cloth wrapped around her legs. Her young son lay beside her, his face flushed with fever. Seeing this, who dares to take another step inside? Don't neglect to rush the injured and sick, old and young, and then spread the blame on them. Huang Er's wife wiped away her tears and said, if uncles don't mind, then take these baskets. I picked them up one by one from the mountain, and they are all clean. My craftsmanship is also good, and I can exchange these baskets for money at the market. Huang Er's daughter-in-law picked up a basket and put it into Huang Er's hand. She lowered her eyebrows and lowered her eyes, bowing her back to tears. Uncle, take it. It's okay to use it for yourself or sell it. Anyway, it's our family's fault for you. I don't have the money to repay Huang Er, but I have two hands. When I make up more and sell it for you, I'll give it back to you. Speaking, Huang Er's wife didn't wait for the other party to speak out. She took the initiative to move the woven basket out of the leaking room on all sides, dividing it among the creditors one by one. She acted silently from beginning to end, not denying the fact that the debt had not been repaid. What else can the 8 creditors say about this attitude? After all, they can also be considered relatives. Early in the morning, many villagers came to watch the excitement outside the courtyard. Everyone witnessed Huang Er's daughter-in-law being put in a difficult situation and took the initiative to share the basket with the creditors, with constant discussions and sighs. Hey, Huang Er is really not a good person. When he gets rich, he doesn't know his surname. He runs away with the money and leaves behind his mother, wife, and children. Damn it, it's better to be a pig or a dog. It's just that Huang Er's wife is honest, even though the men have run away and are still guarding this house. She's just as good at taking care of her mother-in-law and children. Yesterday, she didn't have enough rice to cook and came to my house to beg for leftover food. What a pity. Tsk tisk. What else do they need after all this? That's right, you still have your own relatives. Isn't this forcing people to a dead end? The voices of discussion grew louder and louder, and gradually, the 8 creditors who came to the courtyard to ask for their debts all lowered their heads in shame. After all 8 of them are honest and upright farmers who have never done anything wrong in their ancestors for 3 generations. Uncle Huang Er's heart was shattered, and he reluctantly wandered around the house again. After all, he couldn't find the possibility that Huang Er was hiding at home. Coming out of the room again, he shook his head helplessly at the few people who came with him. If you come in a group of 8 to collect debts, take a look at me. I understand that not only did you achieve nothing today, but you may also have a bad reputation in this village. When you go back, you will inevitably be criticized by your family. This trip has caused a great loss. Huang Er's wife and aunt still have a few more money here. You can take it and use it first. Although we are not relatives, no one in the countryside can watch you suffer. An old lady at the entrance of the courtyard couldn't bear to watch and squeezed in from the crowd, pulling Huang Er's wife with a few copper coins. The old lady put 5 copper coins into the hands of Huang Er's wife, urging her to do so. She then turned around and confessed all 8 people who came to collect debts from Huang Er's family. The meaning goes without saying. The sense of righteousness that surrounded the villagers for a moment was aroused. While condemning the 8 people who forced women and children to repay their debts, they generously donated money. We haven't seen such ruthless relatives before. Do we insist on forcing people to death? Huang Er, his wife, hurry up and give you all 7 copper coins, uncle. Take them and use them without returning them. And mine. Take mine too, it's important to treat the child. The villagers approached one by one, and 3 or 5 copper coins were placed in the hands of Huang Er's wife. Soon, the palms were piled up. 8 people were embarrassed by the scene and couldn't come down from the stage. Especially after the villagers donated money, they coincidentally targeted the 8 of them. It seems that if the 8 of them ask for an account again, it's not something. Even if they don't clean their clothes and donate some money, it's not something. Although Uncle Huang Er is a creditor, he is actually an elder of the Huang family. He couldn't bear such doubts and had to let go. Well, Huang Er owes me this. Let's talk about it when Huang Er comes back. It's really not easy for you from the Huang Er family. Uncle took 3 copper coins with you when he left in a hurry. You don't need to pay it back. Crash, 3 more copper coins fell into the hands of Huang Er's wife. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Dressed in exquisite attire, the noble young master is surprisingly chubby with a milk doll. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Dressed in exquisite attire, the noble young master is surprisingly chubby with a milk doll. Uncle Xia, I kowtowed to him. With a thud, Huang Er's daughter-in-law knelt down and kowtowed to all the villagers around her who had supported her. 8 creditors were also kneeled and worshipped. I've knocked my head off. What can the creditors do, not to mention that they are all relatives? Due to face saving, I can only be generous once and take out a little bit. Huang Er's wife held the copper coins delivered to her by 8 creditors and was moved to tears. For a moment, the sound of gratitude and comfort filled the entire courtyard. Mutual understanding and help, warm as if it can humanize, everything seems to be perfect. Ding, the debt collection system has been launched, and the detection function has been activated, positioning the debtor's position. Positioning the location where the debtor's debt assets are hidden. Map generation, countdown begins, Chu Yiyi, ah. Tay. Breaking the system, nothing else works. You are the first to demand debt collection. Forcing the baby to start work at 4 months is a matter that will be put aside for now. Despite the fact that the baby doesn't even have the ability to move, it's not worth mentioning. Including the baby's 3,000-year-old reputation, it's okay not to mention the matter of shamelessly fishing for a big shot to be a wet nurse. But babies also have a conscience. Didn't you see how their family had fallen? The elderly and children were injured and sick, and only one woman supported the family. They all did this and even forced the baby to come and collect debts. Is there any human nature left? Ding, scan completed, brush, a scaled-down 3D image appeared in front of Chu Yiyi, displaying the panoramic view of Huang Er's family. The height from inside to outside was restored, and even a few weeds and people standing in the courtyard were clearly displayed. At the same time, a pile of scattered star points flickered and flickered around the map, making it impossible to be curious. Chu Yiyi itched her hand, clicked on it, brushed it, and a line of words came out, 3 taels of hidden silver. Hey, it turns out that each star point is a treasure trove. It's amazing, just take a closer look at it now. Chu Yiyi exclaimed, good guy. Xiaofeng, this is the first mission arranged by the Heavenly Way for my baby to self-destruct and evade debt after committing a serious crime. It is to collect debts on behalf of others. For this first mission, you and I must shoot arrows without fail. Oh. Feng Yi looked coldly at Chu Yiyi, who had been reincarnated as a baby on his back, and was very suspicious. This is what the heavenly way pointed out to you. Tian Dao, you blind man. Let an old rascal who refuses to repay debts even if he explodes come and collect debts on behalf of others. It feels so ironic. But on second thought, asking the old man to change his stance and feel the pain of the creditor is not just a reflection on himself. Undoubtedly, it is the heavenly way, and the arrangement is very reasonable. Feng Yi, who had figured it out, pinched a handprint and the sword disappeared, replaced by a 1-meter-long warning stick. Xiaofeng, what are you doing? Chu Yiyi was startled. Take a look at Feng Yeshu's must not have an excellent training for immortal sect masters. I can't beat you to death. In a daze, I saw a howl of sorrow. Feng Yeshu said, although I have lived on Qinggu Mountain for 1,000 years, I am not ignorant of the world. I remember that there is a rule in the secular world to collect debts. Firstly, you must have something in your hand and have a deterrent power. Obviously, this is all a mortal body, and I cannot use my spiritual tools. Therefore, I can only. May I ask if Your Excellency Xian thinks that any ordinary person can withstand Your Excellency Xian's hammer? Furthermore, your elder brother's aura is not angry, and you still need to use external objects to enhance it. Chu Yiyi's pure little face questioned. Feng Yi remained calm and couldn't utter a word for a long time. For a moment. The Immortal Lord, who seemed to have understood, silently withdrew his warning stick and walked towards the root of the earthen wall, picking up a crooked dry branch. Holding it with big hands, before taking 3 steps, it cracked and shattered. This is a bit awkward. The speechless Chu Yiyi remembered that there was a tool in the system item list and quickly took it out to replace it with Feng Yeshu. Little Phoenix Immortal Lord, this is a magical tool called the gold digging shovel. It is bestowed by the heavenly way, and only treasures are excavated without harming others. It would be best to use this one. Feng Yeshu. Magic tools. Is that all? There is no spiritual wave, just a common thing. It was still bestowed by the heavenly way. Chu Yiyi, that's enough of you. You fooled him into being a runner for her, and now you openly use a broken shovel to deceive him. You really think that the chief immortal lord of Qinggu Mountain is a vegetarian? Feng Yeshu, who had received the new tool, looked at the iron shovel that nobody knew, and felt a little insulted to his intelligence. He only wanted to pull out the soul of a scoundrel who had been doing good deeds for 3,000 years and had only a few IOUs to fight everywhere from his milk doll's body and expose it to the public. No, this idea is unacceptable. In case Chu Yiyi's soul is exposed, he will have to go to great lengths to help her reincarnate and raise her from a newborn. As the saying goes, having a child is easy, but raising one is difficult. He can't experience giving birth, but he really knows how difficult it is to raise a child. Everything is for the reopening of the heavenly gate, everything is for the grand plan of soaring. After reciting silently 3 times, Feng Yi couldn't bear it anymore. Finally, carrying the baby on his back and carrying a large shovel, he walked towards the crowd. Donations and supplies are being made in the courtyard of Huang Er's family, and the atmosphere is exceptionally lively. Huang Er's wife kowtowed and couldn't come over, and her money was soft on her hands. She expressed gratitude to the villagers and creditors one after another. Along with Huang Er's injured mother with a high fever and persistent child, they also dragged their injuries out of the house to kowtow and thank all the local creditors. Hurry up, Huang Er's family. This is what our fellow villagers should do. Let's use this money for now. It's important to treat your mother in law and children. If it's not enough, you can talk. We'll help you as much as we can. The villagers expressed their opinions. 8 relatives, friends, and creditors are not lagging behind. You don't have to worry about Huang Er's debt. We're looking for Huang Er, not you 3. You 3 just need to live a good life. Let's wait until we find Huang Er about the debt. If you have it, give it, if not, forget it. Uncle Huang said, forget it, like a heavy mountain disappearing in an instant. The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law who stayed at home, along with their young son, expressed deep gratitude in tears of gratitude. Just a little more applause to praise the deep righteousness of the creditor group. While the whole room was in great harmony, an disharmonious voice suddenly came. There are many sinister, cunning, hypocritical, and absurd people who have been passed down through the ages. I once didn't take it seriously. Today, I happen to pass by and have to admit that this is true. Who is talking? Who are you mocking again? Although there are not many literate people in the village, the words, cunning and deceitful, and hypocritical and absurd, are not good words at first glance. Who has no vision, come and cause trouble at this moment? The crowd turned around in anger. I saw an uninvited stranger carrying a doll at the entrance of the courtyard. His height is unparalleled in the whole village, and his handsome appearance is beyond the reach of 10 sour scholars. The crowd was visually shocked and exclaimed. What a well-dressed nobleman, with a chubby and peculiar baby doll on his back, and a brand new iron shovel on his shoulder. He must have been very skilled in digging the ground. Where did the younger generation come from? Why doesn't they have such empathy? Uncle Huang woke up from his visual shock, frowned, and took the lead in scolding. Directly transitioning from a debt creditor to a main force supporting the Huang family. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Unfortunate start. Big brother, hit it lightly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Unfortunate start. Big brother, hit it lightly 006. Despite being scolded by the other party, Feng remained unmoved. Xiaofeng, you can dig wherever my baby points out. Are you sure? Chu Yiyi, you have great distrust. We are still not grasshoppers on the same rope. How can we be so distrustful of comrades in one camp? Feng glanced at her, as if intentionally reminding her that this scoundrel from Crescent Mountain is not worthy of mentioning the word trust. What you're referring to, I know how to do it myself. One big and one small dark poke communication. There is a system that sells her soul communication skills, and even if Chu Yiyi is now a physical fetus, she cannot use any spiritual power, which does not hinder her spiritual communication with Feng Yeshu. No one can eavesdrop on their conversation except for them. The courtyard of the Huang family was filled with unwelcome guests of all ages and genders. With a strong sense of unity, they protected the 3 members of the Huang family and stood together outside, blocking Chu Yiyi and Yi at the entrance of the courtyard. It was as if one big smile at the entrance was an uninvited cannibal tiger. Especially the 8 creditors, relatives and friends, mistakenly thought that Feng Yeshu was also here to ask for payment, so they couldn't tolerate Feng Yeshu to take another step forward. 8 relatives and friends took the initiative to step forward and form a human wall, changing from the previous unscrupulous debt collectors to conscience guardians. Young master, it seems that you are a stranger with a child, and it's not easy to come all the way. We won't argue with you. Please leave, Uncle Huang ordered. Feng Yeshu's expression was slightly moved upon hearing this. It's not easy to take care of children. Chu Yiyi is speechless. Big brother. Is it time to discuss whether it's easy to take care of children now? Feng Yeshu, with a moving expression, said. But since I'm here, there's no reason why I shouldn't act. Feng Yeshu's towering height carries a sense of oppression, not to mention his ruthless and indifferent face, which often results in facial paralysis. With just one glance, Uncle Huang was startled. Uncle Huang retreated behind the middle-aged man beside him and continued pointing at Feng Yeshu. What do you want to do? I'll tell you, this is Nan village, and this house belongs to our Huang family. If you dare to come in, we'll report to the authorities and accuse you of illegally breaking into a famous house and committing armed crimes. When there is a sound, the iron shovel, the weapon of the perpetrator, poked the ground. Feng Yeshu, who was not obedient, once again unleashed his aura by chopping your elder brother. Have you forgotten what you're here for? Those who collect debts don't collect them, but instead help the debtors. I really don't understand what you've done. Upon hearing Feng Yeshu mention the words, debt collection, the 8 of them felt as if they had been stabbed to the heart, blushing and their necks thick. Our Huang family's affairs have nothing to do with you as an outsider. What are you meddling in? That's right, whether or not to get into debt is our own business, it's none of your business. Feng Yeshu, so, you don't plan to take this account anymore. If you don't want it, then don't. If we don't have anything else to do with farming, we just have a conscience. The Huang family is in a difficult situation. If we ask for more money, it's still human. We can't do such a despicable thing as forcing people to live and die. Yes, we can't do. Even if she's pretending. Feng Yi gave a reminder, neither light nor heavy, but it was enough to make everyone hear it clearly. In the moment when everyone was stunned, the shovel pointed directly at Huang Er's wife. Huang Er's wife was startled and panicked, her body tilted and she sat on the ground, crying mournfully again. Woo, Huang Er, you are a godsend. How many people do you owe us? Leaving us 3, you left. If it weren't for the kindness of the villagers, we 3 would have starved to ashes long ago. Woo. Uncles and brothers, please step aside and let this young master come in. Although I am a woman, I also know the logic of repaying debts. Let this young master come in and take a look. If this little thing in the house is still visible, then take it all. If it's not enough, I'll act as a bull and a horse for the young master and pay off the debt. Don't miss your mother, Dong'er can't live without your mother. The young son, with a flushed face, rushed into the arms of Huang Er's wife, tears streaming down his nose. Dong'er, you can't go. The elderly woman in her 60s was Huang Er's mother, dragging her injured leg and staggering to Huang Er's wife's side. The old woman cried, if you want to go, it's also me, this useless old lady. How could it be you? The old woman pounced and knelt down at Feng Yeshu, please be kind, young master. My grandson is only 5 years old and can't live without a mother. If you don't mind, take me away and I'll work for you. I can do anything without the young master's food. I can live by eating some grass, leaves, and bark. I beg you, young master. I kowtow to the young master. The old woman knocked on the ground one after another, her forehead breaking and not stopping. The 3 generations left behind in the Huang family courtyard were crying and kowtowing, feeling very miserable. The villagers were angry, and a few helped the old woman while others protected Huang Er's wife and son. The others gathered at the door, cursing and forcing Feng Yeshu to leave. Get out, our southern village doesn't welcome you. Don't think that dressing like a dog is like a big master. I want to come to our southern village to show off my authority. I'll tell you there's no way. Uncle Huang of the Huang family found a hoe from somewhere and squeezed in front of the person. His hunched back stiffened and he said, don't be afraid of the Huang family. With Uncle here, who dares to enter the house? Uncle will guard the door for you. Me too. Me too. What is to stir up anger in groups, what is to surround and attack, and what is to have difficulty arguing? They haven't done anything big or small yet. Having resided in Qingwu Mountain for a long time, devoted to practicing for thousands of years, and revered by countless fellow disciples, my disciples only dare to observe the immortal Lord of Qingwu Mountain from afar and dare not approach him. At this moment, I truly feel it. If you want to enter the Huang family, you must step on me. Brother Huang shouted loudly, bringing everyone's emotions to a climax. At this moment, Feng Yeshu's well-dressed appearance was seen by everyone as the unscrupulous and heartless behavior of a playboy. The iron shovel held by Feng Yeshu in his hand was a powerful tool to assist the tyrant in his tyranny. As for the chubby doll on Feng Yeshu's back, it may be a temporary plaything snatched from someone by the inhumane wealthy second generation on a whim. Look, that chubby doll is completely dumbfounded, with small eyes staring as if losing their soul. Chu Yiyi, Xiao Feng, are we here to collect debts on behalf of others? Feng Yeshu said, there's no need to ask. Chu Yiyi, who are we representing? Do you ask me? It seems like, it should be, these 8 people who are blocking us the most fiercely. Ah, the fairy has good eyesight. It's not a good start. Feng Yeshu said, the fairy thinks what should be done now. Chu Yiyi has never encountered such a situation before. In the past, it was people chasing after her to collect debts, and she cried poverty and acted foolishly, which was a headache for creditors. Standing on the side of creditors at the moment, looking at such defaulting behavior from a different perspective is really disgusting. Chu Yiyi's voice was low. Why don't you give it a try, Immortal Lord? Her proposal was purely a teasing in helplessness. Unexpectedly, Feng Yeshu took the advice seriously and listened to it. The iron shovel immediately turned in a circle, and a howling wind blew. The noisy crowd immediately scared away a large part, and then Feng Yeshu took the opportunity to use his swordsmanship to charge straight towards Uncle Huang. Is it about to start fighting now? The milk doll forced to follow, be careful not to get dirty and jump wildly. Finished. It's over. She has not yet recovered from her unethical reputation, and she is also carrying the sin of contempt for human life. Ghost system, is this life still finished with her? I knew Feng Yeshu was so reckless that I couldn't say anything to lure him into a team. This guy is a master-level immortal lord who has reached the realm of Feng. If it weren't for her self-explosion and debt evasion, which has lowered the overall reputation of Xianjun immortal domain and made the upper realm nauseous, closing the heavenly gate of this realm would not have caused this guy to suffer 181 thunder attacks and still be chopped back to Xianjun immortal domain after Feng failed. Feng Yeshu, the seed that should have ascended to become a god, is now starting to fight with a group of plantation men in the mud village for her. I hope this matter won't spread, and I hope the disciples and grandchildren of Qinggu Mountain know nothing. Otherwise, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. They are just blind and weak. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. They are just blind and weak in front of me. No matter how strong the farmer is, he is no match for the Lian family, let alone this Lian family who came down from Lingshan. Even a mere iron shovel demonstrated overwhelming power. The 8 relatives and friends of the Huang family, in order to make up for their image, actively besieged Feng Yeshu, and each one knew they were not Feng Yeshu's opponents but did not back down. As expected. Uncle Huang was photographed lying under the wall. Brother Huang was kicked into a chicken coop without a chicken. Uncle Huang was thrown against the wall and stuck, unable to get down. One after another, 8 relatives and friends took turns falling victim. At this moment, the shovel landed again and stood tall, with no one daring to step forward. 007 Bandits. Thieves. Quick report officer. The villagers acted spontaneously. Feng Yi did not stop him. He is waiting for Chu Yiyi to point out a clear location so that he can start excavating. Chu Yiyi's dizzy little head lay on Feng Yeshu's shoulder without responding in time. At this moment, Huang Er's wife seized the opportunity to pounce and fell at Feng Yeshu's feet, grabbing the hem of her clothes and howling again. Woo-woo. This kind-hearted young master, I don't know how much Huang Er owes you. My family only has my life, which is still valuable. Young master, take it and let my mother-in-law and children go. I'll go with you. Huang Er's wife, why are you suffering? No matter how difficult it is, with our village helping you, we cannot let anyone take you away. That's right, it's all the same village, where can I watch you jump into the fire pit? Thief, get out of Huang's courtyard. Beast, let go of Huang Er's wife quickly. Thieves. Animals. He's a thief. He's a beast. It was clearly Huang Er's wife who rushed towards him, but Huang Er's wife held on to him and didn't let go. The villagers ignored everything that was blind and only rebuked Feng Yeshu, with loud voices overwhelming each other. For thousands of years, the past has been pure and white, and the filthy Feng Yeshu has never been so stigmatized, let alone a group of ants. Taking a step back, he pulled the hem of his clothes out of Huang Er's wife's hand. Unexpectedly, Huang Er's wife took advantage of the situation and made a series of somersaults, as if Feng Yeshu had deliberately kicked him out. After rolling several times and hitting the steps before stopping, I covered my chest and spat out a big mouthful of blood. Coupled with my already red eyes that had been crying for a long time, it was easy to misunderstand. Killed. I don't know who shouted. The whole scene was in chaos. In the courtyard, anything that can be held as a weapon is picked up by people to resist the enemy. As the enemy that everyone present was united in, Feng Yi was speechless. Have you fainted enough, milk bun? If you don't speak, I'm afraid you'll be going to kill me. Chu Yiyi was startled by a word and lifted the heavy doll's head with her small hand. It's not all your fault. How could you really take action? They're just a group of weak chickens and ordinary people. Feng Ye's face turned black and he said, okay, I won't argue with them. I'll talk to the fairy alone. Chu Yiyi, who smelled the danger, quickly changed into a smiling face and said, Master Xian, don't worry. Look over there and see that slate. Dig 3 feet below, there must be something good. Feng Yi let out a snort. Amidst the shouts of killing, beasts, and robbers throughout the room, Feng Yeshu took action again. Picking up the shovel and facing the villagers who were hesitant to fight back, they walked towards the slate. Huang Er's mother saw that Feng Yi had noticed the slate, and none of the neighbors in the courtyard dared to block the way. Feeling nervous for a moment, I almost forgot my injured image and almost ran away. Speed gave his daughter-in-law a glance. Huang Er's wife understood and stopped biting her mouth and spitting blood, then got up and rushed towards Feng Yeshu. Feng Yi looked like he had long eyes on his back, avoiding him sideways. Huang Er's wife didn't pounce on anyone and pounced with a mouthful of dirt. Just now, I didn't say that I just wanted to take what I wanted. I just wanted to dig out the soil under this slate and take it away. Anyway, I wanted to go back on my word. Feng Yeshu questioned. Huang Er's daughter-in-law kept her face tight. She was seriously injured just now and couldn't speak, and suddenly regained her energy. Gomzi, a little dirt is not worth a penny, she said. Yeah, so why are you nervous? I mean, I still have some copper coins here. I gave them to the young master on behalf of Huang Er. Huang Er's wife hurriedly took out the copper coins donated by the villagers before, fearing that Feng Yi might not look down on them, so she took them out cleanly. Several dozen or so copper coins fell to the ground with a crash. The villagers are not willing anymore, it's all the money they give to the Huang family. You can't give it to Huang Er's family. He is just a bandit, and he will make the decision when the officials come. How could you even snatch money for women and children's lives, something inferior to animals? Are you still a person? When there is a sound. Feng Yi, who was not a human, struck the slate with a shovel in his hand, causing the thick slate to crack into a spider web. Who dares to speak up again? This is probably the end. Everyone fell silent. Huang Er's wife is also really scared. Seeing this, as a mother-in-law, she not only showed no fear, but also showed her eyes to her daughter-in-law, and even pushed her 5-year-old grandson to join in. Huang Er's daughter-in-law thought of the consequences and felt uneasy, pulling on her young son to repeat the old trick. Strive again, fail, not even catch the corner of the garment. Mother and son both broke their scalp, blood flowing through the forehead and bridge of the nose, dripping to the ground. The crowd was still pondering why Huang Er's wife couldn't bear to part with this dirt. In the blink of an eye, they were stimulated by the tragedy of the Huang family's mother and son. They didn't want anything else, so they were angry and surrounded. Various branches, wooden sticks, benches, and horses were attacking Feng Yeshu. Feng Yeshu blocked and dodged left and right, paying attention to both reducing his power and preventing everyone from making a reckless and disorganized attack. Feng Yi was speechless, and Chu Yiyi was even more speechless. They were originally here to collect debts on behalf of the 8 relatives and friends of the Huang family. If these 8 were not grateful to them, let's forget it. How could they actually protect the debtor? And how did they evolve into great villains who pushed the elderly, children, women, and children to the brink of despair? The 2 of them felt varying degrees of depression. Fairy, let's talk about it. Are you still digging or not? Feng Yi asked Chu Yiyi with special divine sense. Chu Yiyi looked at the countdown on the system interface, as well as the dots representing the hidden gold land in the 3-dimensional image. Then, she glanced at the Huang family mother and daughter holding their child in tears, feeling nauseous. Digging, we must dig. Playing a bitter meat trick in front of this fairy, her whole family is not up to par. Humph. A certain gentleman couldn't help but sneer. Feng Yeshu said, it's also. They're not good enough to play tricks in front of the fairy. This is definitely not a compliment. The secret communication between the 2 stopped. Feng Yeshu slightly released his spiritual power, and a wave of air surged around him, sweeping away various non-weapon weapons and pushing the besieged crowd in all directions. Men, women, and children are all immune, hitting walls, falling to the ground, and falling into the pit. The courtyard is full of moans and pains. Feng Yeshu took the opportunity to take action. The iron shovel dug down at the broken cobwebs of the stone slab. Whispering. When Huang and his wife got up from the crowd, they had already dug a 3-foot pit. With a clang, the sound of the shovel touching the earthen jar. Huang Er's mother was impatient and pointed at her daughter. Law without hesitation, cursing loudly, useless thing. You can't even keep an eye on this little thing at home. If my Huang family wants your daughter. Law, it's better to have a dog. The old woman's legs didn't hurt or she was no longer limping. She got up all at once, faster than anyone else, and rushed towards Feng Yeshu like a mad cow. Coincidentally, a shovel of dirt hit his face, his eyes closed and he stumbled into the crowd across from him. 3 middle-aged men who had just climbed up were hit one after another, and his strength was so strong that he didn't feel like a person who couldn't eat enough every day. Chu Yiyi saw that the first debt collection task was about to be completed, and waved her meaty hands excitedly. Xiao Feng, dig it out quickly and let these fools understand, she said, I still need you to say. The porcelain jar was thrown out of the pit in an arc, falling to the ground into pieces, and the copper plates scattered all over the ground with a clatter. A copper plate can be strung together in 10 large strings, at least 1,000 pieces. The noisy crowd fell silent instantly, and the courtyard was filled with people staring wide-eyed. Including the mother. Law and daughter. In Law of the Huang family, they sat on the ground with weak knees and muttered, it's over, it's over. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Xianjun Brand Excavator. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Xianjun Brand Excavator, Huang Heirs, explain what this is. With so much money, your mother. Law and daughter. Law are still clamoring about not having enough rice to cook, and can't afford to hire a doctor. It's not what everyone thinks, explained the mother. Law and daughter. Law, kneeling and praying that their fellow villagers and friends would believe them. This jar of copper coins was saved up by my mother. Law and daughter. Law for laundry and work. It's buried underground for fear that Huang Heir might take it away. Huang Heir's mother, what you said is really easy. You can earn 1,000 copper coins by washing clothes. We have never seen such a good thing before. Besides, you have money, you bury it in the ground, your child burns for half a month without taking it out to invite a doctor, and you even beg us for food. This is just deceiving everyone. Scammer. Everyone was burning with anger. At the right moment, Feng Yeshu said again, "Don't worry, everyone. There's more." "What else?" "It's gone, it's really gone. The mother.in.law and daughter.in.law are trying to turn the situation around. I can't figure out where this young master with a doll on his back came from, and how could he know that the jar is buried here?" Suddenly, with a loud thud, the roof tiles were knocked down by a stone, and then copper plates connected in strings fell from the gaps in the roof, clanging and clanging, one after another, making a crisp sound. Hundreds of copper plates again. How did they discover this again? They were very careful when hiding money, even in the middle of the night when the dog didn't bark. How to explain this? This is also earned from washing clothes. There are no mice that your family can hide, I'm afraid will give us a copper. They are all from our own family, and our own people are also like this. My conscience has been given to the dog. Everyone changed their target and surrounded them layer by layer, accusing their mother.in.law and daughter.in.law. The spitting stars flew like rain. Feng Yi didn't care about these things and continued to excavate treasures under the instructions of Chu Yiyi. At this moment, there were no more neighbors blocking the way. Not only were they very cooperative, but they even wanted to give a hand to the righteous and skilled digger, the noble young master. I saw a little chubby finger on the young master's back, and he shoveled his shovel wherever he went. Not long after, there were large and small pits in the east, while in the west, they repeatedly struck and split, and dug out copper plates and silver blocks. Another shovel split open the walls of the thatched cottage, and the earth bricks inside fell to the ground and broke open. A few smelly silver fragments rolled out. Turning around and standing at the entrance of the pigsty, he shoveled down and flipped over the pig feeding trough. There were signs of tampering at the bottom, and Feng Yeshu silently chopped out several complete silver ingots. There were constant cries of surprise. At the next moment, the little chubby hand of the doll was pointing towards the foundation. Foundation. If one cannot dig well, the house will suffer. I can't dig it. This is the house left by my ancestors. Master Qing Tian, who will help me? Where did the jackal come from? This is not debt collection, it's even more ruthless than robbing the family. This is going to demolish my family. The mother.in.law and daughter.in.law cried and shouted in an attempt to awaken everyone's conscience. The neighboring creditors who had already been deceived once were no longer deceived and spontaneously stopped their mother.in.law and daughter.in.law. Huang heirs, you two fooled us hard enough. What are you pretending to be? That's right, I really think our fellow villagers are the big shots. If it weren't for this young master, we would still be covered in drums. Just because of your family of scammers, we almost wronged and injured the young master. The crowd gathered in a circle to criticize Huang Er's mother.in.law and daughter.in.law. Everyone, please make way. Feng Yeshu spoke up. Upon hearing this, everyone quickly set up their mother.in.law and daughter.in.law, pulling and pulling to clear the way. Amidst the crying and shouting of Huang Er's mother.in.law and daughter.in.law, Uncle Huang took the lead with a hoe and said, "Previously, we had a grudge against the young master. I apologize to him. The young master is going to dig the foundation, right? I'll help." Brother Huang became anxious and snatched the hoe from Uncle's hand. "Uncle, what are you doing here?" "I'm still here." "Uncle, if you're optimistic about the Huang heir family, I'll handle the digging. I'll help the young master." "And me too. I don't have a shovel, I still dig with both hands." The young master said where to dig, we all listened to him. Yes. Yes. No need for everyone to take action, it's enough for the next person. Feng Yeshu gestured to move away. The 8 creditors of the Huang family thought of treating the kind-hearted young master as a bandit before, and even cursed the words, beast. They blushed and felt ashamed, obediently giving way. Feng Yeshu took his position and poked the ground to determine the location. Then the iron shovel lifted and fell again, and a small whirlwind rose, expanding with a sound. With one shovel, it fell 3 feet into the ground, causing the 3 feet of soil to collapse and fly. Those who are close are covered in mud from head to toe, while those who are farther away are better off, with no one spared. Everyone was shocked as they had never seen such a miraculous digging technique before. I can't help but speculate which path of martial arts this young master has cultivated. Amidst the screams of surprise, Feng Yi did not pause. He repeatedly shoveled and piles of soil flew out. People who were worried about being buried alive by flying soil retreated one after another. Not long after, a hole that was 1 person tall was dug out. There is a wooden box with a lock at the bottom of the pit. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. Chu Yiyi also sighed, but her focus was different from everyone else. In her eyes, there was Feng Yeshu's heroic demeanor just digging the ground and digging the pit in her chest. TSK, if we take this to the construction site, there's nothing else about excavators. Chu Yiyi really praised Feng Yeshu, but to Feng Yeshu, the word excavator didn't seem like a serious thing. It felt like some kind of insult to put it together with him. Shut up, Feng Yeshu warned and dragged the wooden box up. Everyone waits quietly. Locks and the like are used for chopping. With a shovel, the box disintegrated and the white silver ingots rolled and shimmered in the sunlight. The villagers who had never seen so much silver exclaimed in surprise before, and Huang Er's mother fainted directly. Huang Er's family, do you really not know where Huang Er hides his money? The crowd asked. Huang Er's daughter Law looked disheartened and said, I really don't know. Huang Er has been away for half a year, and I can't even see anyone else. How could I know that my family has hidden money? If everyone doesn't believe me, I'll prove it with death. Speaking, Huang Er's wife rushed towards the firewood house with determination to prove her innocence. I thought the villagers would pull her up again like before, but no one stopped her, and she couldn't stop because she was too invested and ran straight into the wall. However, roaming and rumbling, the wooden house, which had long been dug into a dangerous house by Feng Yeshu, was hit and collapsed by Huang Er's wife. Everyone rushed over to dig people, and at this moment, Huang Er, who was hiding in the messy haystack of the firewood room, crawled out of the ruins. Huang Er. So you've been hiding here for most of the year. How come you turn your face when you make money and don't recognize yourself as your family? Well, from today on, we won't be the same family anymore. You can't owe us less money, just repay it. Repay the money. Repay the money. When the government officials rush over. Huang Erjun was surrounded and scolded by his own uncles and brothers, and if the Yamen attendant came a little later, he was afraid that he would be beaten to death or disabled. The Yamen officer swung his big knife and shouted to stop. Wang Erden, who took the initiative to report the case and actively led the way, responded again, pointing to Feng Yeshu, who looked out of place in the crowd and dressed differently from the people around him, and said urgently. Chu Yiyi, it's him, he's the bandit. Pop. Wang Erden's wife slapped her face and said, damn it, Wang Erden, you're talking nonsense. Wang Erden is confused. Take a look at your daughter. Law's attitude, and then look at everyone, feeling even more confused. You, for a long time, I can't say anything. Huang Er is the black-hearted bastard. If it weren't for this young master passing by and kind enough to expose the Huang family, we would still be kept in the dark and Uncle Huang's debts wouldn't have been recovered. Wang Erden remained silent as he watched the young master with a shovel behind the crowd, carrying a doll on his back without saying a word. He had a decent demeanor and looked down upon others, not as amiable as the chubby doll on his back. Shocking. Why do you think a chubby doll is kind and amiable? It's strange. The government officials who are unaware of the causes and consequences can only follow the process and take down all the people before proceeding. However, at this moment, it was discovered that the childcare young master who had been silently following the situation behind everyone was missing. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Feng Yeshu, you are wrong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Feng Yeshu, you are wrong. 009 Ding. Congratulations to the host, task completed, reputation value plus 100, current reputation value .999999999, silver coin plus 100, shovel strength plus 1, Chu Yiyi. Giving 100 silver coins with such great effort still has a negative reputation value. Don't be so stingy as a person, okay? Ding. Friendly reminder, this system is not human. Hee. What you said makes sense, I can't refute it. Chu Yiyi was unhappy. Chu Yiyi just wanted to quickly go back to her soft crib and sleep soundly. Hoo. So sleepy. The little doll's body is so easily tired. Fairy. Milk buns. Feng Yi poked and poked the meaty little face lying on his shoulder. He poked, remained still, and then poked again. His head tilted and he slept soundly. His small eyes were closed, and his small mouth opened a slit, with little water flowing out. His shoulders were soaked. Hey, what did you do again? His robe, once again stained. Babies in their early childhood are already drowsy, let alone wandering around for a while. With my little eyes closed, I fell into a deep sleep. How to return to Junhua City, how to return to the Chu family, Chu Yiyi knows nothing. I didn't even know about encountering Lingshan Tongdao on the way, and the dignified Qingwu Mountain Immortal Lord acted like a thief, taking her to hide quickly and taking a detour back on the path. Chu Yiyi had an annoying dream, in which she repeated the scene of the Huang family collecting debts, crying and wailing, shouting and attacking, and the sound of silver falling to the ground. When she woke up, there was still a dreamy phantom in front of her. Thinking of how he used to be such a bad person, the baby felt nauseous and said, "No, I'm not like Huang Jiana. When I cried and played tricks, I really didn't have the money to pay back." Is that right? Feng Yeshu's voice. Chu Yiyi opened her eyes wide, completely awake, only to realize that she had returned to the Chu family and was lying in her own baby room. There was no one else in the room, except for the sound of birds coming in from outside the window. There was no other movement in my ears. Feng Yi sat under the window, dressed in an old-fashioned brown dress, with a neat wet nurse hairstyle. A few strands of hair swept over his calm black pupils, while his gaze fell on the scroll in his hand. The twilight shone through the flower window, illuminating his simple yet awkward attire. At this moment, let's recall the luxurious and extraordinary aura of this immortal gentleman under his normal attire. The contrast is so strong, Chu Yiyi's ribs hurt and her eyes squinted. I really want to ask Your Excellency Xian how he managed to endure this shabby appearance with the noble body of Lingshan Xianjun. Although Your Excellency's appearance is not bad, does he not care about his face when he dresses as a woman or as a wet nurse? The four brothers of the fairy have just come to see the fairy. Feng Yi noticed that Chu Yiyi was looking at him, and there was no discomfort, so he spoke very naturally. Chu Yiyi squinted her eyes, as if this could blur Feng Yeshu's striking image. Come on, just four little brats," she said. Well, they are indeed four little brats. With a crash, Feng Yi flipped over a page of the book and continued calmly, "If I were a little late just now, I don't know which little kid the fairy will be in, let alone where she will be taken. I think it should be a place that all little kids like. Fairy, tell me where kids like to go. I remember those new little things on Qingwu Mountain, and my favorite ones are tree holes, water pools, mud pits, and so on. Words must be spoken." A gaze without warmth fell on Chu Yiyi suddenly had the illusion that she was a ball of mud in the opponent's eyes. He seems to be watching her joke. But she has no evidence at all. Chu Yiyi's back is numb. Not only because of Feng Yeshu's piercing gaze, but also because of an elder brother's disaster that he unconsciously avoided. That's right, she's really annoyed by the reincarnation. When she first came through her last reincarnation, she was 8 years old and an orphan with no father or mother. She woke up on a battlefield full of corpses, forgetting who she was, why she was there, and not knowing where it was. She had to run for her life and live as much as possible. And this time, she was fortunate enough to have a father and a mother. Unfortunately, there were also 4 mischievous brothers above her. When she was beaten and born, she was ambushed every 3 to 5. Either she was pulled out of bed by the ignorant 4-year-old and almost fell to death, or she was secretly fed roasted sweet potatoes by the 10-year-old boss. Sweet potatoes, can the newborn baby eat them now? It's good if they don't choke to death. Fortunately, Feng Yeshu has arrived. Since Feng Yeshu became her wet nurse, 4 thugs have had a hard time killing her. Chu Yiyi didn't smile. Hehe, I really want to thank Lord Xianjun. Feng Yeshu withdrew his gaze, put down his book, and sat with a relaxed and casual expression. It seemed that everything was normal, but Chu Yiyi noticed a slight abnormality in casually descending. Feng Yeshu said, "You don't need to be polite, fairy. Your trip was originally to help the fairy return to the spirit mountain as soon as possible, pay off the debts you owe, and also calm the restlessness in the immortal realm, so that no one can't take it easy for someone to have a new demon and go astray." Chu Yiyi, hehe. Not to mention this, we are still good comrades in arms. Bring it up. No wonder my baby wrote a note in the notebook. In the future, whenever there is a chance, my baby will slip away and be lucky. Alas, even if you break through your iron shoes, you won't be able to find it. Chu Yiyi, if all the world is filled with people like Immortal Lord who understand righteousness, why worry about the prosperity of our Chang'an immortal domain? Feng Yeshu said, I flatter you. The fairy has traversed the Lingshan mountains for 3,000 years and is renowned far and wide. Later generations like us can only look up to the fairy, how dare we invite credit in front of her? Chu Yiyi. Speak human language. What the hell are you thinking? What happened to the sudden flattery? Feng Yeshu, you're not right, you're not right. Chu Yiyi, Xiaofeng, we can all be considered as sharing joys and sorrows now. In fact, if there is anything you can say directly, with our friendship, I can definitely help you. Okay. Stand up tall and walk with backlighting. Every step was taken on Chu Yiyi's nerves, until she was pulled out of the crib from her swaddling clothes. Hold on to her creaking nest, just like a jerk, let her face him. Feng Yeshu's indifferent eyes changed slightly in his daily life, and his essence flashed by. The fairy is now 4 months old, with a body shape far exceeding that of an ordinary baby. I have been thinking about it, and it is time to help you wash your marrow and shape your meridians, and break free from the mortal body, he said scared. What are you talking about? Baby is only 4 months old. Is Feng Yeshu inquiring? The resolute attitude was clearly notification. What does the fairy mean? You have already made up your mind, and ask your aunt what she thinks. It seems like your aunt said you would agree if she didn't like it. Xiao Feng, this fairy is only 4 months old and her bones are soft. Her meridians are also blocked. Washing her marrow so early is too urgent, isn't it? Gudong. Rong Chui secretly swallowed saliva. Don't think that for 3,000 years, she has only focused on making IOUs everywhere and forgotten. She is also a spiritual mountain where ordinary people enter. When she went to the Crescent Mountain to worship, her ancestors spent baskets of precious medicinal herbs to wash her into a spiritual body. The whole process went through bone and bone fractures, one after another, going back and forth for half a year. She still doesn't want to recall that brutal past. Feng Ye's eyebrows furrowed slightly. Chu Yiyi thought Feng Yeshu would stick to her own opinion, but as soon as she remembered the past, Feng Yeshu put her back in the crib. Feng Yeshu said, let's discuss this matter again. The fairy slept for 3 hours without any drops of water, so she drank milk first. Chu Yiyi was a bit surprised. Let her go now. This doesn't quite resemble the style of Little Phoenix Immortal Lord. Feng Yi didn't care what she was pondering. He raised his hand and found an exquisite porcelain vase. Then, he poured the milk of the rare spirit beast Feiyun deer contained in the vase into the milk bottle provided by the system for the doll, and handed it to Chu Yiyi before leaving the room. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. 7 Even the donkeys of Liamo are not used so much. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. 7 Even the donkeys of Liamo are not used so much. Carefully close the door and walk down the steps to stop in the courtyard. Feng Yeshu turned his head to look at the carved window, through which he could see a corner of the crib. From this angle, he could see Chu Yiyi kicking off the raised feet of the quilt. Feng Ye was born as an innate spiritual body and has never personally experienced marrow washing. Although he has done this for others many times, he has never experienced as much pain as Chu Yiyi did. Just now, Chu Yiyi recalled the past moment. The connection between the two people's divine sense was still unbroken, and Chu Yiyi inadvertently roasted about a lot of complaints about marrow washing, which he did not want to hear. There are many ways to wash the marrow, but it's just that your master is too foolish. My lord, are you such a fool? Whisper a sentence. Feng Yeshu turned around and pondered on the various methods of washing marrow recorded in the records. There were many sects in Lingshan, and there was always one method that was most suitable for so many libraries. In the room, Chu Yiyi did not realize that his roast had been received by someone. Holding the bottle and drinking to the brim, she was just waking up full of energy. She was so energetic but had nothing to do, which was really a waste. Looking at my raised little feet, they were so small and meaty. With a flick of my little hand, I caught them. Suddenly came a desire. She really wanted to. She really wanted to grab her feet and take a few sips. Ding, disgusting. Baby just finished an order. Baby doesn't want to see you, dead system. You have new features enabled, new features. Chu Yiyi swiped the interface and really found a new button. Bill. What are you doing in the system? Are you picking on trouble? She couldn't help but get angry when she saw the word Bill. She was really afraid of being surrounded by the debt collection army before the self-explosion. The first thing that came to her mind when she saw the word bill was 1,000 debt notes. Click on it, current number of outstanding bills plus 123321, sure enough, I shouldn't have ordered it. She cursed herself for owing money, but couldn't help but click on the list again, and then she saw a string of bill details in the drop-down list, marked with specific accounts and creditor information. Underwater Yumen He Lianhua White Crystal plus 10, Under Poisonous Insect Valley Fong Ku Air by Jing plus 10, Due to the Earth Fire Palaces Li Yi Understanding Crystal plus 10, Owing San Lu Fong Lu Lin Crystal Sweet Potato plus 1, dot. I pain. Flipping upwards hurts even more. Speed off interface. Good guy. What kind of system? Even the fact that she cheated on someone to eat sweet potatoes is included in the account sheet. This means that even if she drinks a sip of water from someone else's mountain, it can be considered as owing them a debt. If we calculate it this way, she may not be able to finish another 3,000 years. Friendly reminder, the current account balance is 100 silver coins, which can be exchanged for Lingshan White Crystal plus 10. Whether to exchange. Why did it change? Redemption function allows withdrawal. Based on the current situation, this system recommends that the current debt can be repaid. The host can choose independently, and after selecting, the host should personally go to complete the debt repayment. For each debt repayment task completed, the number of bills is 0.1, and the reputation value is randomly increased. Go. I originally wanted to curse, but when I thought of the previous system friendly prompt that, this system is not human, I felt like cursing. It was just cursing myself for being stupid. I can't scold, let alone fight. The uncontrollable frustration sank in her chest, making her want to vomit milk again. If Xiaofeng were here, it would be great. We could vent our frustrations even if we lost each other. System, may I ask if there is a time limit for this debt repayment task? Chu Yiyi smiled and asked. Although the system doesn't care about what facial expressions she uses when asking questions. When the silver coin reaches 10,000, the debt repayment countdown function will automatically start. This means that as long as the amount of silver coins does not meet the standard, she will not be forced to repay the debt. Think about it this way, it's a bit human-like. Ding, the debt collection task has been released. Please pay attention to receiving it. Let her swallow the warm, human touch, 3 words. Divine horse system. Indeed, she was given the opportunity to delay repaying her debt, but at the speed of releasing the task, wouldn't it be a disguised urge to save her money and force her to repay her debt as soon as possible? You came out of the system. Sister only completed an order 3 hours ago, and the sun hasn't even set yet. You sent out a new task. What do you mean? The donkey pulling the mill doesn't even handle it that way. Don't force me to greet your mother. Friendly reminder, this system is not made by humans. Your grandfather. Friendly reminder, there is no master in this system. Then should we discuss your grandson? Ding, detected host resistance, activate punishment +1, lightning strike. Come again. You can't say it, sister. You're here to be gloomy. Roaming and rumbling Pai Li Pa, poor baby has once again gone completely numb. Received 2 lightning strikes within a day. Adding up 3 paths, those who don't know may have thought that some Lingshan Immortal Master had broken through the realm and caused thunder calamity. After the rumbling sound, on the other side, in the courtyard of the Chu family, Feng Yeshu had just taken a night off with Xia Hong, the eldest maid of the Chu family. When he came out, he heard the sound of thunder. Looking at the location where the thunder disappeared in confusion, I couldn't understand that it was also the location of the old rascal on Crescent Mountain. I didn't understand how the 4-month-old mortal body could have caused the thunder calamity. Even without washing the marrow. While contemplating various possibilities, a sudden sense of unease arose. Feng Yi instantly disappeared into the courtyard, with several leaps occupying the highest point of Junhua City. Spiritual exploration quickly spread, scanning the entire Junhua City from his own perspective, attempting to locate the threat. Sure enough, we found a fellow Taoist aura in the northwest of Junhua City. And the other party also discovered him in the opposite direction. Fairy. Feng Yi opened up divine consciousness communication from a long distance. Chu Yiyi heard it, but unfortunately, she could only listen. The soul communication skills given to her by the system at such a long distance were ineffective, and due to her inadequate physical condition, she couldn't even use the Tong Tian spell. The lightning strike summoned by the fairy just now was very untimely. A guest came to visit, so I will receive the fairy first. What customer? Chu Yiyi was puzzled. But she couldn't proactively contact Feng Yeshu either, so she could only listen to Feng Yeshu's messages unilaterally. Feng Yeshu's voice disappeared, presumably to meet the so-called guests. Chu Yiyi is not worried, after all, Feng Yeshu is a master who has reached the realm of soaring and is more than enough to deal with an immortal master. Chu Yiyi should be worried about herself. Xiao Fengxian is not here, how can she perform system tasks? The system interface prompts to receive tasks with flashing text. Chu Yiyi had a headache and hesitated, but suddenly noticed that the countdown had not started. Does this mean that as long as she doesn't click to view the task, it won't start and there won't be a countdown to urge her? A sly smile appeared on the face of the little child. Turn off the system interface decisively. Wait for a moment, there is really no punishment for the lightning strike. It seems she got it right. Great, the baby can sleep soundly tonight. Stretch your calves and arms, lie flat the end of dusk. The maid Xia Hong came in and lit a candle in the room. After dinner, Chu Yiyi and his wife came to Chu Yiyi's room with 4 deadly little boys they didn't want to see. Chu Yiyi was held in Jiang Lanji's arms, enjoying the happy moments of mother and daughter. Her silly father pulled his face and made various funny faces at her. Is this making her laugh? Sorry, she's so ugly that she just wants to cry, madam. Aunt Tian has taken a night off and said she hasn't been back for a long time. She wants to go home and take a look. She said she will be back early tomorrow morning, Xia Hong reported. Chu Yiyi. Hey. Feng Xianjun ran out to meet a guest. Does it take one night? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Pulling it out to play as a cockfighting game. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Pulling it out to play as a cockfighting game. Feng Yeshu didn't come back all night. Chu Yiyi was not worried, thinking that it would be easy to deal with a guest, with Feng Yeshu's cultivation to the level of soaring to perfection. If he didn't come back all night, it might be because he had been busy with something else after receiving the guest. But I didn't know how difficult it was for Feng Yi that night. He was able to achieve the perfect level of flying ascension, but he was hit by 180.1 consecutive attacks from the heavenly thunder without turning into ashes, which is good. The remaining cultivation is even better than that of Yuaning, and he also has various internal injuries and external injuries left by the hard resistance to the heavenly thunder. Currently, his spiritual power is not running smoothly and his mobility is not as good as before. After a night of maneuvering, it took some effort to expel the guest, but it was only a serious injury. If dealing with a small Immortal Master in the Yuaning realm in the past was just a matter of one sentence, how could it take so much effort? I couldn't help feeling suffocated in my heart, and my resentment towards a certain old rascal grew even deeper. The morning sun rises in the east, and the golden light falls. The endless forest is full of vitality. Feng Yi stepped on the towering branches and looked eastward until the attacker's breath completely disappeared before turning around. By the time he returned to the Chu family, it was already 3 strokes of the sun. At this time, I think the old rascal has already used this morning's milk on his own. However, when Feng Yeshu returned to the baby room, he did not see Chu Yiyi. The small bed was empty, not even the blanket was visible. What about people? Is it the Chu family who carried it out? No, the Chu family dotes on their only daughter and knows that Chu Yiyi is too sleepy to disturb her at this time. So it can only be taking advantage of his absence. Chu Yiyi Benwa secretly developed the ability to run away on her own. Looking back at the strange lightning strikes from yesterday, as well as Chu Yi's refusal to cooperate with marrow washing. It's like some wicked ghost running away with its tail between its legs. What a scoundrel fairy. I have gone to great lengths to deceive you into trusting me, for the sake of this moment. No problem, I will always find you. When I catch you again, I'll let you defend yourself. If I believe you, I'll consider myself a fool. Turning around, with a cold and merciless face, his gaze was already sharp as a blade. My lord, it is necessary for you to know clearly what sincere repentance is. Junhua City. Qingke Street. The old stage, abandoned 3 years ago, has now become a holy land for children. Chu Yiyi is running very fast on the stage. To be precise, it was Chu Wenyuan, the leader of the Chu family, and Chu Minglang, the second son, who were running wildly with their small arms on one side. And competing with her on the same stage was another female doll who was also running on her arm. Lin Yuran, a 7-month-old girl from the Lin family. Unbelievable. 7 months and 4 months. They were stolen from home by their own brothers, arranged to play, and forced to play on the field. Do you want to be so crazy? The Lin and Chu families have been at odds since the 3rd generation of their ancestors. The 3rd son of the Lin family, the 4th son of the Chu family, perfectly inherits the aspirations of their ancestors and tries to outdo each other in everything they do. But when they compete with each other, why do they have a little doll that can't even climb smoothly? Chu Yiyi didn't want to participate, babbling and shouting. The 2 brothers not only didn't understand her baby language, but also thought she was playing happily and excitedly, running harder with her. Damn it! Little Feng Xianjun was not at home for just one night, and the older brothers of the four farts had such a black hand on her. What a sin! Thinking of her as the majestic lord of Crescent Mountain, with countless demon servants under her seat, today she was pulled out by a group of worldly little brats to play cockfighting. It's simply her greatest shame in 3,000 years of travel. Feng, why haven't you come yet? If you don't come again, my baby will be played to death. Little Phoenix Immortal. You probably don't find me troublesome, just leave me alone and run away. Master Xianjun, don't be so heartless. The baby knew it was wrong. The baby shouldn't have exploded and evaded debt, causing the heavenly Tao to be unhappy. The baby didn't expect the heavenly gate to have such a glassy heart. Just say it's sealed, causing you to suffer 181 heavenly thunders and not soar. I was wrong, I made a change. Master Xianjun, please come and help me. Ding, you have new tasks that have not been checked. Feng Yi didn't expect it, but the system gave some feedback. Chu Yiyi was angry and said, what should I check? I'll die later. If I don't see this baby, it's hard to protect myself. The death system doesn't even require your eyesight. Chu Yiyi cursed, and the system interface flashed and disappeared, as if she was really afraid of her. It can recognize faces. But for now. Her four stubborn brothers competed fiercely with the three young boys from the Lin family, without any intention of stopping, and ran around with her. She's so heavy, they can even run. Seeing the Lin brothers leading Lin Yuran by a large margin, Chu Wenyuan and Chu Minglang had to accelerate their pace again. Chu Yiyi will no longer struggle. On the stage, the big ones dragged the small ones and ran around, while a group of children watching the excitement below slapped and cheered, shouting for extra matches because the competition was not intense enough. A bullshit game. Who cares about the competition, who will take it on their own? Chu Yiyi is very unhappy. At the end of the race, the two families reached the finish line, and the Chu family suffered a disastrous defeat. At the finish line, the three children of the Lin family held Lin Yuran proudly. Chu Wenyuan, I'll just say that your family is not good, don't you believe it? Pop pop. Lin Yuran, a 7-month-old child who knew nothing, was clapping and laughing, as if agreeing with his own brother's words. Chu Yiyi stared at Lin Yuran and swallowed it in frustration, taking it, Auntie, do you know that we're just about to hang a cockfighting sign around our necks now? Do you understand that we are the competition equipment in someone else's hands now? You can still laugh and slap us. Chu Wenyuan, Lin Mushuan, what are you proud of? We're letting you play this game, let's compete again, and we'll see what you see later. The leader of the Lin family, Lin Linxian, was 9 years old and 1 inch taller than Chu Wenyuan, who was 10 years old. He snorted from his nose, come on, who will quit first and who will be the little dog? Chu Yiyi. Hee, it doesn't matter if the dog doesn't care. I want to quit, but I'm not happy and won't do anything. Chu Wenyuan, more than pressure, dare not come. Lin Mushuan, if there's anything you dare not do, just compare it. Specific weight. How to compare? Chu Yiyi is really curious about this. Not for a while. Under the cooperation of the two sides, a simple seesaw was made, and Chu Yiyi and Lin Yuran were placed at both ends of the seesaw. The leaders on both sides let go. Chu Yiming has also taken it. Isn't this just heavier than someone else? This still needs comparison. There is no suspense. Chu Yiyi's speed sank on this side, and Lin Yuran was bounced up. If it weren't for the quick grasp of the three brothers of the Lin family, they might have been thrown into something. Chu Yiyi's scalp is tingling. Fortunately, he reincarnated without passing through the Huangquan Road and drinking Meng Patang. Otherwise, according to this gameplay, how he would die in this life would be unknown. The fairy's enthusiasm is so great that I really shouldn't disturb you. Feng Yeshu. Underneath the stage, behind a group of children, Feng Yi, dressed as a wet nurse, didn't know when he would arrive. His eyes, showing appreciation, were really bright and open. It seems that there has never been a fierce killing intent in his eyes. He looked quietly at Chu Yiyi on the stage, as if the person who had returned from afar had said goodbye to the left behind, as if he had never suspected that the left behind would break his promise and run away. Did I come earlier? Xiaofeng, why did you come? The baby's face is full of grievances. The baby's hands are stretched hard, seeking to be hugged and taken away. She tried so hard to express herself, but Feng Yeshu couldn't guess what she had thought before. She had doubts about Feng Yeshu before, and suspected that he would trouble her to leave her and run away on his own. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. 9 Ding your target, on the brink of death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Ding your target, on the brink of death. Everyone, hurry up. There's a dead person behind the stage. A little boy ran over from behind the stage, stumbling and shouting while running. Upon hearing a dead person behind the stage, the children screamed and ran away one after another. The 3 sons of the Lin family on the stage also picked up their own sister and quickly left, shouting, "Fight again," before leaving. "Not coming is a puppy," the 4th son of the Chu family responded, working together to bring the overweight Chu Yiyi off the stage. "Wait a moment, young masters. Miss, please hand it over to the servant." Feng Yeshu took over Chu Yiyi, who was surrounded by his older brother, and only then did 4th son realize that his wet nurse had arrived. 4th son panicked and the wet nurse arrived, indicating that the family already knew they had stolen their sister. "Are parents already on their way to catch them?" Chu Wenyuan was afraid and said, "Grandma Tian, how did you find this place?" "My parents, are they also here?" The master and the lady did not come, and as for the servant, it was just a coincidence. Feng Yi replied, the word servant was so easy for Chu Yiyi to be deceived if he didn't know his background. Chu Yiyi. Your Excellency, is it really good to be so shameless? It really doesn't matter if your disciples and grandchildren find out about it. Ding, you have new tasks that have not been received, do you want to view it? What's wrong with checking later? I didn't see that the baby can't leave here and doesn't have time. Click to exit. Ding, task received, countdown on, midnight, 23.59, silent, how could simply clicking to exit become clicking to view, and the system is doing this again. Chu Yiyi Chi, what's the use of Chi? Once a task is received, it must be executed. Chu Yiyi is babbling and complaining. The baby is just complaining, not complaining. The 4 brothers of Chu Wenyuan became nervous, even though they knew that their sister's baby language could not be understood by normal people, they were still afraid. Surrounding Feng Yeshu, holding him in a circle and grabbing his clothes, begging for forgiveness. We knew we were wrong, Nanny. We will never secretly take our sister out again. We promise, Nanny, you trust us. Cici begged and quietly pushed the youngest and most adorable old man, Chu Lianchen, to the front in an attempt to use the cute begging technique against Feng Yeshu. Be cute like Feng Yi. Ask the cubs on Qinggu Mountain if this move works. Feng Yi had a solemn expression on his face because the 4 little brats had stolen Chu Yiyi, and he even misunderstood her. Feng Yi only wants to teach them a lesson. Chu Yiyi intervened and said, Xiao Feng, let them go. The heavenly way has given new instructions, let's start work. Chu Yiyi's tone was a bit anxious. In such a hurry, Feng Yi couldn't help but feel a little happy, thinking that the old rascal seemed to have a sincere regret. The serious expression then unfolded. Turned to respond to the 4 brothers of the Chu family. Don't worry, young masters. This matter has been exposed. The 4 brothers were overjoyed and said, Thank you, Grandma Tian. Feng Yeshu said, Don't rush to thank me. I have one more thing to ask a few young masters for help. 4th son didn't even want to agree quickly, said the wet nurse. Feng Yeshu said, after returning, please ask the young master to guard the young lady's door. No one is allowed to enter. If anyone asks, just say that the young lady is asleep and no one is allowed to disturb her. The four brothers are puzzled. Look at the chubby sister, then at Feng Yeshu. Isn't the wet nurse planning to take her back now? I saw Feng Yeshu holding Chu Yiyi and wiping her dirty little face with a handkerchief, showing so-called kindness. Miss, since she was born, she has not been out of the house yet. This is the first time. Since everyone has come out, I plan to take her to see the flower scenery of Junhua City. Chu Wenyuan scratched his head. As a boy, he didn't quite understand what was beautiful about Huajing, but he nodded in agreement. After a few instructions, Chu Wenyuan left with his three younger brothers. Before leaving, Chu Wenyuan urged Feng Yeshu to quickly take Chu Yiyi away. After all, there were lives behind the stage. Ding, the system sound starts, and a zoomed-out map appears. What is displayed is the surrounding scene, with a unique star shining behind the stage. Chu Yiyi clicked and a prompt came out. Task creditor, Du Daming, age 52, current status, on the brink of death, the creditor is right here. No wonder the system is in such a hurry to urge me to take the order. Wait, on the brink of death. Are you sick in the system? He's almost out of breath. Why do you want me to go collect his debt on his behalf? Burn paper for him. Chu Yiyi is not willing, but she has no choice when it comes to the system that speaks for itself. A belly full of dissatisfaction can only be suppressed. With a smile on his face, he coaxed the tool man with great kindness and said, Master Xian, please excuse me. Let's go see how the lying corpse behind the stage is. At this moment, Feng Yeshu's so-called kindness on his face had already been cleared away, and he had regained his usual indifference. The fairy is not in a hurry to act on behalf of heaven, he said. The act of saving lives and doing good deeds is a good opportunity for us practitioners to accumulate merits. How can we miss it? Chu Yiyi was serious. Feng Ye's eyebrows twitched slightly, as if he had an allergic reaction to Chu Yiyi's seriousness. In silence, holding on to Chu Yiyi and walking towards the back of the stage. The stage was abandoned for 3 years, with no one taking care of the weeds growing wildly around it. The two of them walked around to the back and indeed saw a lying corpse in the grass. It was an old man with a grey head, ragged clothes, blood-stained limbs, lying face up motionless. If it weren't for a slight rise and fall in the chest position, it was truly no different from a dead corpse. Xiao Feng, let's see if he's still saved. No help. Can you be more careful and not rush to make a conclusion? Chu Yiyi was dissatisfied. Feng Yeshu was equally displeased. The fairy thought my lord was perfunctory. Chu Yiyi was about to say, yes, but thinking about the consequences of offending Feng Yeshu, she immediately closed her mouth. Feeling dissatisfied, Chu Yiyi understood that he still had to rely on Feng Yeshu. Master Xianjun, I beg you as if you are willing to take action to save this person. When I return to the Crescent Mountain, I will use the highest treasure to help you overcome the calamity and ascend. The treasure of Yuya Mountain. It sounds very impressive. But, is there any? Whether it's Feng Yi, a well-known home enthusiast, or Chu Yiyi, the half-moon fairy who dug mountains to exchange money, it's said that the graves of the founding ancestors of Crescent Mountain have been dug up and exposed by his disciples. Now, there will still be a precious treasure. Seeing that Chu Yiyi was still licking her face and repeatedly making a bet request with the treasure, Feng Yi couldn't bear to listen anymore. Shut up. Chu Yiyi. Just keep it closed, why are you so fierce? I didn't see that she was still a baby. Feng Yi took a long breath and calmed down, holding on to the belief that heaven has the virtue of good life, and enduring the frenzy stirred up by the old rascal. Okay. I'll save him. Save a mortal, a low-level turning pill is enough. Feng Yeshu fed the old man one and guided his medicinal power with spiritual techniques. Soon, the wound on the old man's body visibly healed and his breath gradually became stronger. After a cup of tea, the old man woke up. I opened my eyes in a daze and saw a tall figure standing next to me, glaring at the sky as the background. This woman was holding a chubby baby in her arms, her eyes full of pity, just like the delivery lady in the palace. The old man was excited and said, "How could you show up here, the mother who sent you a child? I can't even live on my own, how could I have the life to pick up the child you sent me?" The old man faced the sky, tears streaming down his face. "I really forgot that the man couldn't pick up the baby. Old man, you can see clearly that I am not a delivery lady." A cold tone sounded. The old man hesitated and wiped his tears before looking closer. "She's really not a mother giving birth." With a white shirt and gray collar, a large waistband, and a towering figure, the man's facial features are clear and powerful, full of extraordinary qualities. At this moment, he is holding a chubby doll and looking down from above. Strange, nowadays it's trendy to go out and hold a doll. No, shouldn't it be a disguised human trafficker? End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Immortal Master takes the initiative to accept orders. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The Immortal Master takes the initiative to accept orders. What is most disliked by the lower class people, and human traffickers bear the brunt. During times of national prosperity and peace, human traffickers were repeatedly banned from trafficking children and women. In times of natural and man-made disasters, human traffickers took advantage of the situation to rob people from their homes. Old men over 50 years old have seen many of them and detest them deeply. Forgetting to think about how he woke up for a moment, he quickly got up and rushed towards Chu Yiyi in Feng Yeshu's arms, shouting, "Thief, put down the child." Feng Yeshu said, Chu Yiyi. In a moment. The misunderstanding has been resolved. The process is very simple, and the ending is very satisfactory. The old man sat cross-legged in the messy grass, covering his swollen head. His eyes, which had been moistened by the sand, did not stop crying. He wiped his tears while apologizing to Feng Yeshu who had committed the crime against him. "Don't take it amiss, young master. My old man was really asleep just now, so I misunderstood him. I apologize to him." After apologizing, he pointed to Chu Yiyi in Feng Yeshu's arms and said, "I didn't scare the child, did I?" "No problem, she has always had the courage," Feng Yi replied, intending to say, compared to courage, she thinks she's second and who dares to call her first. Chu Yiyi silently looked down upon. "You said directly that sister had eaten bear heart and leopard gall, wouldn't it be more direct? Xiao Feng, please go ahead and ask him how his injury came about. Do you need our help?" "Chu Yiyi. Are you sure you want to manage it?" Feng Yi asked with divine sense. Chu Yiyi, "Yes, definitely. All the rescues have been saved, it doesn't matter if Feng Yi asks a little more." Another moment later. "I have a rough understanding of the background. The old man, named Du Daming, was from Nianzhuang. He worked as a laborer in a stone quarry for 13 years, earning an annual salary of 5 taels of silver. The first 10 years were normal, but 3 years ago, the quarry suddenly stopped paying wages. At first, they promised to pay when they had enough money to work first. Their colleagues endured for 5 taels of silver, but later on, not only did they not fulfill their promise, but the owner also surrounded the stone quarry and hired a martial arts master to watch over them, forcing them to work for nothing. More than 50 colleagues who resist will be beaten, they are really going to die. The owner even said that anyone who dares to run will chase after their family and bring them all to the quarry. Gradually no one dared to resist anymore. Du Daming was getting old and had no expectations for salary. He just wanted to go home and take another look at his family. He jumped off the wall at night and almost fell to death on the stone slope. Du Daming, who took the wrong path, accidentally entered Junhua City and eventually passed out at the old stage. Speaking of this, Du Daming was filled with tears. "My old man is 50 and 20 years old this year. He hasn't returned home in 5 years. My old lady is already in poor health, and I don't know if she's still alive. It's easy to go home, Feng said. Continuing, but before we go back, we have to get our wages back. It's yours, it's yours. We have to repay what others owe us. How can the heavens allow such petty people to be rampant? Feng Yeshu took the initiative to make a statement, and Chu Yiyi applauded closely. Xiaofeng is right. Xiaofeng is amazing. Hoo. It's great that the child has had an enlightenment. This doesn't require her guidance to directly enter the orbit. Save her strength. Xiaofeng, you've already finished speaking here. It's better to start early than late. Let's hurry up and get on our way. Don't worry, Feng Yeshu said. Chu Yiyi paused for a moment, then glanced at the system countdown. It had just passed an hour, but fortunately, there was plenty of time. If it wasn't urgent, it wouldn't be urgent. Feng Yeshu helped Du Daming up and said, "Old man, come with me to eat some food first. We'll talk about helping you with your debt later." Hungry and grateful, Du Daming only remembered when he got up that he still had injuries. However, when he looked down, where was the injury? Why is there not a single place left? Du Daming was surprised and touched himself from head to toe, feeling incredulous. At this moment, when he looked at Feng Yi again, his old eyes were full of disbelief. I dare to ask this young master, but is he an immortal? Feng Yi didn't deny it and turned around holding the milk doll, leading the way. I wonder if the old man can get used to eating bean buns, he said, accustomed to eating. Du Daming was extremely excited, thinking to himself that he couldn't have such good luck to see a living immortal. Think more about what Feng Yeshu just said. My goodness. The Immortal Master wants to beg for money on his behalf, and even when he says it, he feels unreal. Found a snack stand. A basket of bean buns and a basket of meat buns can be eaten by Du Daming. Feng Yi didn't have much appetite, on the contrary, Chu Yiyi in his arms was drooling at Baozi. Xiao Rou waved her hand, trying to grab a bun and taste it fresh. Feng Yi quickly slipped up and changed her posture for her. Not only is it far from the table, but it is also further away from the buns. Chu Yiyi's face was full of resentment, stingy. I want to eat, Feng Yi asked with a special sense of consciousness. Chu Yiyi snorted and ignored her. Anyway, he wouldn't give her food even if he said it. Unexpectedly, Feng Yi was very generous and brought a bean bun to Chu Yiyi's mouth. Just when Chu Yiyi thought he was just teasing her and wouldn't really give her a bite, Feng Yeshu spoke up, can't even bite her teeth. Chu Yiyi hates. Feng Yeshu said, even if you can bite it down and chew it, the fairy is not afraid of choking to death. Choking to death. Who? She. This baby is not your child, what's wrong with choking? It's not your turn to feel heartbroken. Chu Yiyi was angry and lost his composure. Don't vent your discomfort for a moment. Take a bite at Feng Yeshu's hand holding the bun. She didn't have all her teeth growing, but her 4 upper and lower teeth were enough to bite both of them with bloodstains. Feng Yi didn't expect Chu Yiyi to be so easily stimulated. He felt pain in his hands and was afraid of shaking off the 4 teeth that the baby had finally grown, so he had to endure it. Young master, you can't let the doll bite you. It's hard for her to change her habit of biting. Du Daming was really worried about Feng Yi. Feng Yi endured the pain and didn't stop, while Chu Yiyi's anger didn't dissipate and he couldn't let go. The old man may not like to hear this, but the old man still wants to say that educating children is very knowledgeable. Don't be fooled by dolls, they have many thieves in their eyes. She remembers everything you discipline her, and if you don't stop her, she will kick her nose and face. The young man is letting dolls play around now, and in the future, it will be terrible. What the old man said is. Feng Yeshu seemed to have truly heard the so called discipline, and his empty hand wrapped around and pinched Chu Yiyi's cheek. Chu Yiyi's face felt pain, and he spoke softly. Xiao Yan is very angry, Xiao Mao is very dissatisfied. Who made you not give your baby steamed buns and laugh at him for not having teeth? Chu Yiyi muttered, and in the blink of an eye, he saw 2 bleeding tooth marks on the back of Feng Yeshu's hand. Oh, the force used was a bit too strong, it was really bitten open. Feng Yi didn't care much, wiped off the blood droplets, pulled a piece of steamed bun skin and dipped it in soup to give Chu Yiyi a sip. The careful behavior immediately attracted the approving gaze of many diners. Look, this young master is not very old and has a way of taking care of children. When I first became a father, I didn't even know which arm to use, not to mention feeding the child, even if I hugged it. The diners exclaimed, but for some reason, the conversation changed and they all began to feel sorry. Is this doll without a mother? It's not easy for a big man to take care of his own children, be both a father and a mother. Chu Yiyi, who could hear every word, suddenly became depressed. She was just greedy for eating steamed buns, so she had an extra dad. At this moment, the little eyes looked at Feng Yeshu, who was full of patience, and it really seemed like that. Poo 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 poo. Pew 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 pop. She is a majestic fairy of Crescent Mountain. How could a newcomer climb onto her head and become her father? Oh, how wasteful. Du Daming felt ashamed of Chu Yiyi's behavior of spitting out the foreskin. It's difficult to be a father, young master. You still need to teach your girls more. Yes, I do have this intention, Feng Yi replied to Du Daming, not only not denying his identity as a father, but also adding a faint smile to his indifferent face in daily life. Chu Yiyi. Not good. Damn it. Feng Yeshu actually laughed. Suddenly, I no longer have any attachment to this world, and I suddenly want to give up my breath and throw a fetus far away from Feng Yeshu. End of this chapter.